can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Luke Riley takes on Bogdan Grad this Saturday at UFC Fight Night Qatar. And Luke Riley, undefeated guy, 11-0, making his debut on this card. A lot of hype coming into this fight. He's been over in Cage Warriors for, I think, his entire professional career. Obviously undefeated. A lot of wins by KO. A few decisions in there too against decent competition. Had a lot of really good entertaining fights. Had a really good fight with Alexander Loof. And 26 years old, undefeated. Looked really good. Trains out of Paddy Penblitz's gym. I think it's Next Generation, the same gym that Shamrock trains out of as well. So he'll be debuting on the same card with his teammate Shamrock, which I think will be good for him. But a lot of hype in this one, taking on a guy in Bogdan Grad who's got a lot of experience. 15-3. He had 19 amateur fights, which is kind of crazy. 5 of those he lost. So good experience with him. Luke Riley, very dangerous on the feet. Good hands, good kicks. You can't really give him space to operate, or he'll get his flow going, find his timing. Bogdan Grad, decent striker himself, jiu-jitsu black belt, likes to use his striking to kind of close the distance, get in close, get his takedowns. Has good submissions, good top control. Pretty aggressive most of the time, likes to be the one pushing forward, can put a high pace out there, and he's got some heavy kicks. So going to be a decent test for Luke Riley taking on Bogdan Grad, and I think Luke Riley's going to be at a little bit of a physicality disadvantage. I think that Bogdan Grad's going to be the bigger guy, probably the stronger guy. Luke Riley, he's only 26, maybe just not filling out his frame yet, but he just doesn't seem like he's the most imposing looking guy compared to Bogdan Grad. So I think that Grad's going to be a little bit stronger. He's going to be older in his prime, 30 years old. He just appears to be a little bit bigger. He's got thick legs, got big calves, heavy leg kicks that he likes to throw as well. And Luke Riley, I don't think he's faced the competition that Bogdan Grad has. Grad's coming off of a loss to Muhammad Naimov, who's pretty high level. I think Naimov's pretty well rounded. Beat Lucas Alexander before that. Michael Aswell split decision. Michael Aswell's a dog. Lost to Tom Nolan back on his first stint on Dana White's Contender Series back in August of 2023. So I do worry about Luke Riley's grappling game. Grad's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He has good wrestling. He's got good takedowns. He has several ground and pound wins, several submission wins. Was having success in the grappling against Naimov as well, which is a good thing to see. And I look at Luke Riley's most recent fight before he got into the UFC against what was his name, Abasov, I believe it was getting controlled in that first round. Was really having trouble keeping it on the feet, but was still able to win. He stayed safe, got back on the feet, and was able to eventually get the finish over Abasov. In other fights, he'd get taken down or controlled in the clinch, but he would kind of weather the storm and then go find the finish later in the fight. So has a really good gas tank. He's very gritty. He's able to kind of be losing the fight or losing the round, getting out grappled, but he doesn't really let it discourage him. He ends up finding the win, obviously being 11-0. So had a really good fight against Alexander Loof, where he was dropped hurt pretty badly in that fight. Was able to come back and get the finish over Loof. So shown a lot of toughness and grit and ability to overcome bad situations to still get the win. Lucas Alexander did a good job of making Bogdan Grad pay for the takedowns. He'd land knees, he'd land elbows, he had solid hammer fists and ground and pound within those scrambles. And I think Riley will do a good job of punishing Grad for those takedowns, making him work, pushing a high pace. He has the better gas tank in my opinion. We saw Grad start to gas in the third round versus Michael Aswell. And I think just with the pressure that he likes to put out there and the takedown heavy game that he has, I think that sometimes he can start to wilt. So I think that Luke Riley's going to do well in this, just having success on the feet. I think that Grad can be hit, doesn't move his head very well, kind of keeps it on the center line. He was eating 1-2s from Lucas Alexander, had a really bad first round against him, but then was able to come back in the second round and get the TKO on the ground. But he can be kind of hesitant, kind of steps into the pocket and stops mid-combo. We saw that in Michael Aswell fight, and I feel like that's going to set him up to take some counters and some big shots from Luke Riley. And he was KO'd by Tom Nolan. So I think that Riley is going to be the better striker. I think he's got the movement and the endurance to just be a little bit too elusive and to be able to kind of stay away from the pressure of Grad, not allow him to cut him off within the octagon, pin him against the fence, get takedowns, uses boxing to counter Grad. I think he's got a little bit better boxing and just rip to the body. When Grad steps in with that, he's got kind of a high elbow shell defense that he uses that leaves his midsection wide open. So I think that Luke Riley is going to find his openings in this fight, take over as the fight progresses, and find the chin of Grad. So I'm going to go with Luke Riley to get this one done by KO. Thanks.